So I want to talk today about the greatest story that you, yes you, will ever experience in your life. It is a story that has been playing out for many, many years within your own subjective experience. It is the story of I. It is the story of the me, the psychological character that we take ourselves to be. And there's beautiful things that can come from this. It definitely, the story of I, it definitely allows for a certain experience to play out within us. But it also causes a lot of suffering as well. And most people think that they are struggling with, anxiety, trauma, overthinking. But what if that's not actually the main problem? What if anxiety and overthinking are actually symptoms of a deeper distortion that you don't even realize is a distortion? It's the mental health issue that most humans don't even realize that they have. And it's a very intoxicating, immersive experience. But what if you're not actually suffering? What if you're just intoxicated with a story? So I want to talk about that today, about the illusion of the I and how it can run amok. And then we get all of these ideas, like we think that we're trapped in thought, or we think that we're trapped in our minds and we can't stop, we can't fix it. But a lot of that, all of that really is coming from this false assumption that there is an I here to begin with, okay? And so all of this stems from programming, right? Ever since we were children, the media, society has conditioned us to reference our nature as some kind of mental construct, right? And we're trained to imagine that we're this character that exists on a timeline, this character that has a past, right? This character that has a future that's going somewhere, and that it gains certain things along the way, and that its ultimate goal is to gain as much stuff as it can, or learn as much stuff as it can, or have as many experiences as it can, and then it will result in some kind of character that is the accumulation of everything that came before it. And while that is true to a certain extent, like we have the capacity to learn, to acquire skills, to acquire knowledge, possessions, relationships, experiences, maturity, there's not a central figure in here that's responsible for all of that, but we've been falsely assuming that that's the case. And for my Gen Ys out there anyway, who kind of grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, if you even think about the music that was coming out back then, because that was kind of more of the end of mainstream music before like Spotify and like SoundCloud and more independent artists started coming online. Back in the day, like when I was a kid and a teenager, all we had was basically, the radio in order to hear all of the hit songs. So it was a very kind of controlled set of music that you would listen to. And just looking back on it now, how so many of the artists were presented with a certain image that would appeal to a certain mindset, The big thing that comes to mind actually is the Spice Girls, right? Each Spice Girl had their own identity, right? If you were like the sporty Spice, right? So if you were like a sporty girl, it's like, oh, that one's my favorite. Or like the posh, right? Oh, if you're fancy and you like to wear nice clothes, you're the posh, right? So even in that, it kind of trains you to identify with a certain characteristic, with a certain construct, right? This like a certain archetype. And like later on, Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, right? The kind of like good girl versus bad girl vibe. Like, oh, which one's your favorite? Or even a little bit later, like Avril Lavigne. I know I'm naming all the cheesy music, but that was cool when I was in elementary school, right? So for like the punk skater girls. And don't get me started on the whole East Side, West Side thing. I'm a West Sider. till I die, right? So it doesn't matter, if your identity is based on what you're not, like I'm not an East Sider, I'm a West Sider, or I'm like the cool skater girl. And so from a very early age, we are basically really encouraged to create an idea, a mental construct about what we are and hold that into place. And then we begin to just naturally reference that in our reality. So this experience of an I character, it creates this alternative dimension where like the thoughts are telling a story and we take ourselves to be that story. We take ourselves to be that accumulative narrative that's always looking out from this idea of an I. But if you take away the past and the future right now, what is I? Just look right now, like, can you find a center to this I? Not a sensation. Sensation can still be there, Maybe the heart feels stronger or the head feels like more prominent sensation, but the I, where is this I figure? And the crazy thing is that we don't even notice that the I is a concept. We don't even think about it. We just kind of take it for granted. Like, yeah, there's an I and it's this past and it's this story and I'm going somewhere. But we're not only just thinking the story, we're also feeling the story, okay? So the emotions combined with the thoughts create this kind of full body, like multi-dimensional experience that feels so real, right? The emotions feel so real. But who do they feel real to? Where is the me that all of that is reporting to? Where is the me that's responsible for the thoughts, that's responsible for the emotions? The experience of thought combined with the sensation, right, the emotion or the feeling, creates an experience of a belief. It's like a belief is like a strong thought. It's like a belief that like it hooks you in. And it feels real because there's an accompanying sensation to it. So if it's just a thought like, okay, what am I going to make for dinner tonight? There's not really a intense thing into it. But if it's like, my husband's family's coming over tonight, I want them to like me, what am I going to cook? I need to cook something good so that they approve of me, right? There's going to be a feeling accompanied with that because there's some kind of belief that's creating an experience of a character that's looking for more feelings. But all of that is coming from this false assumption of I. There's no actual entity there that's believing in the story. So the experience of anxiety is a story about the future, right? The experience of insecurity is a story about some deficiency in the I. This experience of worry is a story about some kind of future moment that hasn't happened yet. But it's just looping, right? It's just looping thoughts, right? So if you think of a me thought that appears like, I want to be enlightened, right? Or I need to get that money. Okay. If it's a strong thought, if it's a thought about yourself, there's likely going to be an emotional mirroring of that thought. Okay. And then the emotion reinforces it and creates a deeper experience of the thought, which just perpetuates the story and on it goes. And this is the intoxication. This is the intoxication of the I. It feels real, but it's just an experience of thoughts and feelings. And just behind that experience of not identifying with that illusion of thoughts and feelings that are creating a story is the freedom. Is the freedom of the now that you've been looking for, right? Is what people talk about when they speak about awakening. And this is what I do in my sessions when I guide people in a one-on-one setting over Zoom. into a space of clarity where they're no longer identified with the thoughts. They can have a temporary experience of, the directness that's here that's not dependent on the thought. And it's like something kind of begins to open and something begins to like get more oriented to, which is just the directness. And this is the beauty and the simplicity of really seeing what all of these spiritual pointings are trying to get at. Because for the longest time, like I listened to non-duality for 10 years and I was always like, what are they talking about? Like, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, I'm still identified. How do I stop being identified? How do I stop being identified? But the I that was wanting to no longer be identified and that was going on a journey and imagining that letting go of identification would be something that would happen in the future was the very thing that was perpetuating the illusion that I was trying to get out of. And so this is why I try to make this pointing as simple as possible. And I do this not by teaching, but by giving people a direct experience. So this content here is really just to promote the one-on-ones and to help people maybe understand like the back end of it, which isn't really necessary, but everybody has their own way of coming into this kind of stuff, and oftentimes it is a little bit more interesting to just listen to somebody speak about this, and then you kind of get to know them, and then you can open up to an idea of being guided in this direct way. It's not a learning, it's not a doing. It is a direct experiencing of it. And when people are in this clarity, it's so interesting because there is this like direct kind of profound emptiness that kind of begins to emerge when the thoughts and the mind is bypassed. Oftentimes the mind will want to grab on and will want to label something, right? It will want to claim it for itself. It will want to create a concept around this. And this is something that I notice with myself as well and with other people, is that it's like the mind is just, it's like dying to define things. But there really even is no mind. It's just thought patterns that are playing out, right? And that they're looking for a landing place. Oh, this is enlightenment. Oh, now I'm awakened. Oh, there's no self here, right? It can even play out like that even in this emptiness, even in this direct experience. So you don't have to have the mind being completely shut off. It's more about this unspeakable kind of freedom that is just all encompassing. It feels like you and the entire reality in this directness, and there can be kind of varying degrees of openness. But as the identity is kind of begun to be seen through over time, more and more, give it time to unfold. Like give it 6 months, give it 12 months, give it a couple years even, right? Everybody has their own way of coming into this clarity. But the way that it really kind of starts to kick off is by the direct experiencing and seeing through the illusion that the thoughts and the feelings are creating this intoxicating experience. We're drunk off thoughts and feelings, basically. It's like there's this play of sensations and smells and sights and sounds and thoughts and feelings. And it creates this grand illusion, like we're this body that's moving through space and time. But where is that happening? Right? Where is that happening? It's like when you go to one of those, some of those movie theaters now, like you can put the smells in the movie theater, and if it's hot, you like feel the heat, right? It's like a 3D movie. I think that's what they call them anyway, while you're in the screen. So you feel like you're really there. Or like a VR headset, like you feel like you're really there, but it's just a play of sensations. And this illusion can be seen through by the direct pointing. So it really is beautiful, and it really is an honor to share this. But let's get back to some pointing now. So if you take away the past and the future, what are you right now? Where's the I that wants to be enlightened? Where's the I that says this moment's not enough? What do you actually find? Do you find something solid? Do you find a thought? Are you a thought? Are you a sensation? Are you a concept? Are you something that's not here right now? Are you something that needs to be attained and earned? Are you something that's found in another moment? RLA say it seems wordless. Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. And like I said, there can even be the impulse of the mind that will want to, oh, it's wordless. Oh, it's the no self, right? It's not that. It's not that. It's like, just let that go for it. Even now, let that go. What are you without that thought? Even the thought wordless, what are you without that? And I know what you mean because we're communicating here. But even let go of that, right? Sometimes I have calls with people and I'll be like, okay, so what? And it's like, I'm the space. Okay, what are you without that thought? I'm just here. Okay, what are you without that thought? I'm just energy. Okay, what are you without that thought? And it's like, I don't know. Okay, what are you even without that thought? Right? Silence. There's nothing left to say. So awakening is about seeing through the illusion of I, and that's the good news, that it is an illusion, that it never actually existed in the first place, that it was just a story. There was no mountain to climb, right? There was nothing more to achieve. And so many times with spiritual seeking, what ends up happening is we hear these beautiful ideas, and I'm sure a lot of it is very well-meaning, but it does tend to just evolve the ego, to evolve the identity, right? To make the thought patterns and the behaviors more sattvic, more purified. And I'm someone that can put my hand up for that. I've definitely, the character has definitely benefited from the spiritual path, from making healthy choices and, meditating and doing breath work and yoga and all of that. I was a yoga teacher for many years and tried a lot of really cool practices and retreats and gone and saw masters. I did the whole thing, Went to India many times, went and saw Muji, was at his satsangs every day. I was such a disciplined little student, even had a fling with one of the guys in the Muji band. Did it all. And then you hear some stuff behind the scenes that is a little bit not so non-dual. But I digress. So the mind will even want to create a story about coming out of the story. I'm awakening, I'm doing the work, I'm purifying, I'm healing. And it's okay that we say that, like it's okay that there's an understanding that there's a process going on, that there's an unveiling going on. But at the same time, it can also be a trap, because then there becomes new thought patterns that appear that start identifying with the spiritual journey, right? With that, start identifying and holding on to this idea that I am disintegrating. But the disintegration is something that happens very naturally, right? You can't force disintegration. So the I that wants to wake up is being imagined. Where is the I right now that wants to wake up? What do you find? There's a thought that says, I want to wake up. There's maybe a feeling, likely a feeling, a pull, right? But in that pull, there's also like a subtle resistance to what's here now. So what are you without the concept of awakening right now? And let's go a little deeper. What's between awakening and not, what's between awakened and unawakened? Because it's not even in the giving up of the concept of awakening. You don't have to give that up. You don't have to chase for it. It's in the in-between. Because awakening is just a thought. It's a creation of the mind that's pointing to something. But we get trapped in the concept and in the doing of it, or the undoing of it and the letting go of it. But what's in between? What's here regardless if you're awakened or you're unawakened? I don't even like using that word anymore because it really has just lost its meaning. I prefer to think of it also just as a sobering up, because awakening kind of makes it seem like you go through this threshold and there's this kind of sudden thing, and it can appear like that as well, but it can also just be a eventual slow clearing out of this patterning, thought patterning, combined with the sensations that are resisting what is. And in that resisting for what is, they're reaching for what is not. They're imagining what is not, and they're moving towards that. Arale says, I get there so easily when you speak, but as soon as these videos end, I'm in personhood again. Okay. Well, I mean, I would suggest booking a session, or you can come on if you want to chat. Because, yeah, how long has it been that you've been listening to me, Arale? How long have you been watching these videos for? I remember you. I think I've seen your comments on YouTube as well. Months? Okay. So are you noticing like there's a self-correcting that's happening as well, like when you get caught into the story? Because this isn't something that, I think oftentimes awakening is presented as this moment that like, okay, sudden shift, I realize my true nature, now my thoughts are gone, now I'm in some other dimension, and now everything is this way. It's not like that. So what are you without your expectations right now? I keep grasping at old teachings. Yeah. Yeah. So where's the I that's grasping at old teachings? Where's the I that wants a concept? The mind equates the story with survival, okay? Because it takes oneself to be the thoughts. And so if those thoughts, if the foundational level of those thoughts, which is the I, when that's challenged, it can feel challenged, right? And that can mirror in the nervous system. It can feel like I'm slipping away, I'm losing myself. But all you're losing is an imaginary story that was never real to begin with. All you're losing is just thought patterns that continue to perpetuate because they're continued to believe in. So what this message is about cutting that belief, about showing that there's something here that's way more peaceful and grounded and direct and clear and present and free already, that doesn't have a story. What's here that doesn't know the past right now? What's here that's not tied to the past right now? Don't wait for the self to drop away, right? Don't wait for some moment that changes everything. There's only this. There's nowhere to escape to. There's nowhere else to go. You're not going to be more real in another moment. What you discover is that which you've always been. Okay? And it can feel energetic, for sure, as the beliefs are loosening, as the nervous system is kind of adapting to this new way of relating to thought and oneself. And it can happen, it can take time, right? But if you want it, it is right here. It's really just such an honor for me actually to share this, because it is just so clear and direct and simple, because it's not in the concepts, it's not in the words, it's in the direct experiencing. And even in the direct experiencing, the mind can still be there and it can still want to grasp at an idea about what it is. And that's okay too, because that's it too. There's nothing that's outside of it. Your thoughts are it. Your experience of identification is it. That's just the reality that we find ourselves in. I don't know what this is. I don't know how I got here. Nobody knows. It would only be thoughts anyway, right? Can you find a cause to this moment right now? Can you find a source of this moment right now? Can you find a me? Or can you just find thoughts and memories and sensations and a body? Can you find an actual me? We just imagine that there's a me, and that's the intoxication, right? We're drunk off of the qualities of life, the senses, and we don't notice that we are the effing miracle and that we have been this whole time. Direct, happening right now. What's in between the past and the future? What's here that doesn't have a past and a future? What's here that doesn't need a story in order to exist? You can't go back more than this. You can't find anything deeper than this. And it's kind of like that in the reality too, right? Like when we get our microscopes and we look into the structure of matter and we go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, eventually there's nothing there, right? It's just energy, but there's not even energy. They don't even know what it is nothing. And that's like here too. We take ourselves to be this mental construct, this accumulation of memories and preferences and personality traits. But those just come and go, and those are just referring to something that's happened before. So what's here that's not that? What's here that's not that story? Okay, yeah, you could say, yes, something's here, but it's not even a thing, right? Just the isness of life. But the one that experiences it is the very isness. The one that experiences it can't actually be found, right? As some kind of central source point. It's like if there's a taste, like you're trying to describe the taste of chocolate to someone and you're like, oh, it's sweet, it's hard, it's creamy, it's bitter. But like, it's not those words. It's not the word creamy. It's not the sound like sweet. It's not that sound, right? It's the taste. And so we can use words like consciousness and emptiness and awareness, but it's not even that. It's not awareness. It's not. You could say awareness is like a quality of it, but it's not awareness. And so we get hung up on the concepts. The I gets hung up in the concepts and objectifies it and imagines that there's this concept that it needs to attain. There's an I need to attain awareness. I need to attain samadhi. But what are you without that right now? What are you without your spiritual concepts right now? What's here that doesn't need a concept in order to be real? I don't even want to say that it's what's looking through your eyes right now, because there's nothing that's looking through your eyes right now. There's nothing. There's just a vision. There's just a voice. There's just an impulse to act. There's just a feeling and an experience of that feeling, but not even and, just the feeling is the experiencing of it. The sight is the experiencing of it. You can't get out of it. You can't go deeper into it. And the thoughts kind of create this illusion that they're veiled, that something's being veiled, but it's already fully exposed right now. It's already fully awake right now, alive right now. So nothing's actually being lost. What's falling away is just this constant referencing of a story, right? It's not that you stop functioning. It's not that life stops appearing real. It's you're just faced with the directness of what's here without the illusion of there being some narrating center somewhere that's responsible for all of it, right? And the mind will want to try to claim it and will want to try to understand it, but that's just impersonal thoughts that have been programmed. That's not you. There's nothing to understand. The thoughts that are trying to understand it, there's nothing behind it. It's just an empty sentence. Okay? So you don't lose yourself. You just stop imagining that you were one. You just stop imagining that there's something more than what is. And in that realization, the only thing that's real opens up. But it's already been open. Right? You were just playing as if there was a future. You were just playing as if there was something more.